Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
24 minutes before 8 o'clock, it is our time. This is Business Focus right here on Capital. Good morning, Kudzie. How are you?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, Patsan. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, so the government announced pre-planting maize producer prizes. I saw them. What are your thoughts?
I think they will work as a guideline in terms of what farmers can expect. For maize, they said $335 per ton. For sunflower, $654 per ton, and for soybean, $569 per ton. I think that will work as a guideline. Why do I say so? Because we have been told that we are likely to experience El Nino, which means that normal to below normal rainfall in the upcoming season. So if we are going to have less harvest during the upcoming season, it means that demand and supply will come into effect, and obviously prices are likely to firm up. If we don't produce enough to meet our requirements, prices are likely to firm up. So I think these prices are likely to be revised, because I don't think if for example we come short in terms of our requirements, obviously the private sector and others will start bidding more for the maize and paying more for the maize, and no one would want to deliver to GMB under such circumstances. It will result in side marketing if the private sector is paying more than what these prices that have been announced. So I think these are just a guideline as farmers getting into the farming season, because you need to look at that and say, okay, what do I have to do to produce enough so that I can not make a loss? If you produce maize and it's $335 per ton, it means that if for example you produce 2 tons per hectare, that will give you around just above $700. And if that hectare costs you $1,000 to produce, already you are in a loss position. So I think you have to think twice now. If you think your average yield is going to be 2 tons per hectare, and a hectare costs you $1,000, you're already in a loss position. So I think this price will act as a guideline, so that I have to improve my yields for me to be profitable. Otherwise, I think those are my thoughts in terms of the pre-planting maize producer price. We also know that we now have a commodities exchange, the Zimbabwe Mercantile Exchange, that is also there, where farmers, especially those who use their own inputs, are free to go and sell their maize. And at some point this year, maize was actually trading it traded at $330 per ton, which is almost equal to what is being proposed by government at the moment.
Okay. You've got questions, feel free to drop them up on our WhatsApp platform, 0719-100-404. That is our studio WhatsApp number. Kudzie, you spoke about maize producer prizes, saying that they are likely to be reviewed. But let's look at this. Are we then not going to have a situation where the Vesa maize is also going to come back into the market, considering that now the government announced that import of maize is now duty-free?
Yes, that's an interesting one, and a lot of people were saying, but you said we are food self-sufficient. Why are we importing? Why are we starting to import maize? But I think it's actually a prudent measure that was put in place by government to start importing now. GMB has told us that they've got about 260,000 tons of maize, which is about 6.5, because I think we use about 40,000 tons per month. That's what we use. So we have got about 6.5 month cover for maize. So we only have maize enough to cover us for the next 6 months. That's up to around March, our next harvest season. However, as we were saying, we are likely to face El Nino, normal to below normal rainfall. I think it is prudent that we start importing now. Why? Because at the moment, South Africa has got more than 1.6 million tons of maize up for sale. that they want to export. So I think it's prudent that we start importing now. Kune song ya macheso enonzanzi samirire upfu mumba kupera
yeah.
kuti uzotenga humwe. So I think 260,000 tons dziri ku GMB as a strategic reserves, and ngatidzisiye dziripo tomboimpota wakachipa uri South Africa, and now that it is duty free again, it means it will be cheaper. So let's buy from South Africa for now, because that is we don't know what is going to happen in the upcoming season, where we are going to experience normal to below normal rainfall, and already our yields as a country, most of our farmers, maybe on average, you do about 30 tons per hectare. So I think it's a lot of people are saying, but you said we are food self-sufficient. But I think, given that we are going to be facing a maybe drought or that El Nino, I think let's import now. Then could also import next year when prices will. But
let's look at this, Kudzie, the importation. Okay, here I am, Tinashe, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to go and probably take 4 or even more 30-ton trucks of maize from South Africa. Will that be viable enough? I've imported a duty-free ndo vanaina unotengesera to GMB.
Ipapo yeah, very tricky. I don't know how they are going to manage this. GMB is offering $335. So if you think if you import, I'm not sure how
much it is.
Last time I looked at it, in South Africa, they were selling maize at around $200 per ton. I'm not sure after the costs and other things, the landing cost would be how much. But now that it is duty free, maize is likely to land here in Zimbabwe at a price that is lower than it is selling here in Zimbabwe. Remember, we said that at Zimbabwe Mercantile Exchange, the price is about more than $300 on the Zimbabwe Mercantile Exchange. So if it's going to land in Zimbabwe at less than that, then obviously how could
so as we said, but
anozotenga kwa urindiyani because
yes, ndo vanangonotengesera ivavo,
but anozotenga kwa urindiyani because tese tiri kuenda ku South Africa kunohodeko. Saka anozotenga iwo pamwe
don't you think it is actually wiser for GMB themselves to import it? Even though I'm to import, because in India kanochitora that's another issue.
That's the other issue.
Yeah, because in India kanotora Kudzie, I might as well go and take it ndochichengeta ndakachisa somewhere in my warehouse. When demand comes, I sell it too expensive to people.
Yeah, I know maZimbabweans togara chingofunga kuti saka ndoita mari papi ndojita system papi, but I think they have to put in some measures to guard against that.
Because somebody writes, another arbitrage opportunity created.
Yeah, it will become an arbitrage opportunity, obviously, if, for example, somebody manages to import it from South Africa and sell it to GMP. So hopefully they've put in safeguards. Yeah.
Okay, this one says, I am against the idea of importing maize at all. Why don't we use the irrigation infrastructure? All that land with winter wheat now can be used to produce maize, complementing rain with irrigation. That's Shackmanship's comment.
Yeah, it's a good comment, but I think authorities are also saying, okay, we have used most of our water reserves for the production of winter wheat, and we don't know how much rainfall we are going to receive. Tokonangetinaro dam, but enough for us to irrigate the maize for the next season. So I think it's a precautionary measure, guys. I think it's a prudent idea. It's a precautionary measure.
But sorry to catch you there.
Yeah.
But we're going to receive normal to below normal. Is it not an indirect way of just saying we are going to have a drought?
Yeah, but you have to say it the correct. Those are the correct terms. Normal to below normal rainfall. Drought, I think,
complete no rainfall.
Rainfall. Someone what's the price of sunflower again? Sunflower per ton is $654, 37 cents.
654. Let's look at the auction update from yesterday.
Yeah, auction. I think it's now, like I said the last week, auction is now very much predictable. You can easily just put $50. And you would know the next auction price. So yesterday it's now 4,712, if I'm not mistaken, 4,712. That's the new auction rate, and I think in fact about just above just approximately $20 million was allotted yesterday on the auction system. So I think that's the stability that we are now seeing on the auction rate. Unfortunately, the Zimbabwean dollar continues to depreciate, albeit marginally, but it's still depreciating on the official exchange rate. I was looking at one of the websites that is normally quoted by most people in terms of exchange rate, and it was interesting what they had there in terms of the parallel market exchange rate. They had it at 6,150. I'm not sure whether that's where all people are also getting their. But again, like we said, the Zimbabwe has largely. The economy is largely dollarized, and there are not that many people who are going to the parallel market to look for US dollars, because they are generating their own US dollars through sales. So the exchange rate is not much of a factor anymore at the moment. I think the exchange rate is not much of a factor. I think it would be dishonest for anyone to say I'm struggling to price my products because of the exchange rate. If you're pricing the local currency.
Someone saying that on the black market it's now around 7.5.
But Zimrates, this website, not Zimrates, it's the one that most people have been relying on, and they do surveys. And yes, we are seeing in the streets some people saying 6,500, 6,700, 7,000. But I think because these guys were in the street, they want to survive. They've been surviving on this for years. Yes, but just start talking about my numbers are a bit higher. Like saying taza and you start to hear the actual exchange rate. The actual exchange rate. But $100. I thought $100 ndikakuti 6 indatenga at 5.8 yandajika ishoma saka anotry to widen the spread so that they can benefit. At least akakutengesera $100 anoziva kuti ndinokwanisa kuwana yebhazi yekudzokera kumba. Yeah, so I think be careful when you go to those parallel market exchange rates. Yeah.
So with the issue of the predictability of the auction rates right now, is it translating to the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange? And let's look at the update of it.
Yeah, the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, I think, is now being seen as one of the avenues where, again, you can get value for money, because I have always said that the market seems to be undervalued, significantly undervalued. We haven't seen much movement in terms of the stock exchange vis-a-vis inflation, vis-a-vis currency depreciation. Most of the stocks are still in the red in US dollar terms. They are still they've made losses in US dollar terms. So I think there are opportunities there, and yesterday was no exception. We saw the market rallying again with the all share index gaining by 5.62%. The top 10 index adding 6.8%. We had ZHL being the top riser, 15% up, Rio Zim 15%, NMB 14.97%, Pro Plastics 14.89% rather, Tenor 12.73%. And there were only three companies that were in the negative territory. That's Dairyboard down by 6.26%, OK Zimbabwe easing 0.61%, and EcoCash shedding 0.47%. So it looks like for now the stock market is trading in the positive territory.
Let's wrap it off by checking on to our financial term of the day today.
Financial term for the day today is we spoke about that Zimbabwe has now allowed us the government has allowed people to import maize duty free. That will have an impact on something called trade deficit. So that's the financial term for the day. Trade deficit, which is sort of like the difference between the goods that we import as a country, goods and services that we import as a country, against goods and services that we export as a country. So when we have a trade deficit, that's when we are importing more than we are exporting. That's a trade deficit. We are importing more than we are exporting. And now that we have allowed products to come in duty free, it means more people will be looking at that and say, okay, I need to be importing maize. And that will result in more imports coming into the country, maize import coming into the country. And that will have an impact on the trade deficit, which is the difference between the value of our imports and our exports. And in this case, our imports imports will be more than our exports. So that will result in a trade deficit. And there are factors that can cause a trade deficit. For example, something called a comparative advantage, where maybe as a country, we other countries are producing at a lower cost than us. It means that I'll prefer to import than to manufacture here because it's cheaper elsewhere. So that's issues of comparative advantage. The exchange rate also might force people to, if for example the US dollar is firm and we use more the US dollar, it means that we would favor importing again. As a country. Government policies like the one we are talking about, it's a government policy to say import products duty free, but it means more dollars are going to be going to South Africa to import maize. So that again will result in a trade deficit. So that's a financial term for the day.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kudzie. We'll speak to you again tomorrow at 7:35 a.m. for Business Focus. Have yourself a great Wednesday.
Thank you, Timash.
Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Let's dance together right here on Capitalk 100.4 FM. Harare's heartbeat.